Hi, JK here. When I filmed Rosslyn Chapel at dawn, I knew we were only scratching the surface, because Rosslyn doesn't begin the story, it sits at the end of one. The symbolism, the craftsmanship, the ambition behind it, they didn't appear out of nowhere. This is Mother Lodge of Scotland, Lodge number 0, and according to tradition, this is where Scottish Freemasonry began. For centuries, a story has grown around this place, that when the Knights Templar were destroyed in Europe, they came north, and here they transformed into something new. But how do we get from a medieval military order to Freemasonry? To answer that, we have to go back to 1312 in a quiet valley in Midlothian. In 1312, Pope Clement V dissolved the Knights Templar, not defeated in battle, not scattered by rebellion, dismantled through political pressure and papal authority. This village was once called Balantrodoch, town of the warriors. In the 12th century, King David I granted land here to the Knights Templar. From this valley, they managed estates across Scotland from Midlothian to Mary Coulter in Aberdeenshire. This was not a secret fortress, it was a financial operation. Grain, wool, rental income, channeled into crusading campaigns overseas. Their strength lay as much in finance and organisation as in arms. They lent money to kings, to bishops, even to popes. When arrests began in France in 1307, the shock travelled slowly. King Philip IV ordered mass arrests on Friday, October the 13th. Torture, forced confessions, executions. 5 years later, in 1312, the order was formally suppressed. And here in Scotland, the land did not vanish, it transferred. "20 miles west stands Torphichen, headquarters of the Knights Hospitaller in Scotland. Like the Templars, the Hospitallers were a military religious order. They managed estates, protected pilgrims, and operated hospitals. When the Templar estates were reassigned in 1312, they passed here. Temple, Mary Coulter, dozens of properties, confirmed by surviving charters. Only 2 Hospitaller headquarters existed in all of Britain, one in London and this one. Torphichen suddenly controlled the largest religious estate in Scotland. See this stone? It marks the centre of what's called the Sanctuary Stone. Stones were placed exactly 1 Scots mile in every direction. If you made it inside that boundary, you were under the protection of the order, beyond secular law. 2 of the original stones still stand, the rest are lost. But here's where the story gets complicated. During the Wars of Scottish Independence, the Hospitallers backed England. In 1298, William Wallace held Parliament here. The only surviving document signed by William Wallace, the Custos Regni Scotia, was prepared in this building. Later that year, the preceptor of Torphichen, Alexander de Wells, fought on the English side at Falkirk, and he died there. After Robert the Bruce won Bannockburn in 1314, the Hospitallers withdrew. They had backed the wrong side. Eventually they returned, made peace with Bruce, and carried on until the Reformation shut them down in 1560. So the official record is clear. The land moved from one order to another. The archive confirms it. What remains less clear is what happened to the individuals, the men who wore the white mantle and red cross. Some were pensioned, some absorbed into other houses, some faded quietly into local life. No fleets of hidden ships, no surviving armies, just administrators without an order. Scotland in the early 14th century was politically complicated. Robert the Bruce had been excommunicated by the Pope. Papal authority here was not straightforwardly enforced. There is no surviving evidence of continued Scottish Templar hierarchy after 1312. The institutional story ends there, but Scotland was not the only place the Templars disappeared. One country tells a different story entirely. In 1319, 7 years after the dissolution, King Dinis of Portugal founded a new order. the Order of Christ. Former Portuguese Templars joined. It kept the same estates, the same symbols, the same cross, just recoloured. And within 2 centuries, Portuguese royalty became hereditary Grand Masters. Prince Henry the Navigator, who launched the Age of Exploration, was a Grand Master of this order. So in Portugal, the Templars survived institutionally. Same land, same traditions, just a different name. That record survives. Scotland followed a different path, but something else travelled beyond institutions, something symbolic. One thing that is documented across Templar history, their unusual devotion to John the Baptist. At Amiens Cathedral in France, financed by the Templars, there is a relic claimed to be his head. At Chartres Cathedral in northern France, windows are positioned to catch sunlight, specifically on his feast day. At Temple Church in London, John the Baptist appears throughout the art. Why John the Baptist specifically? At their trials, Templars were accused of worshipping a severed head. Historians debate what that meant. Some say false confessions extracted under torture. Others point to something deeper in their belief system. But the symbolism is consistent across sites. John the Baptist, the teacher, the initiator, that symbol travelled too. And centuries later, here at Kilwinning, here to one of Scotland's earliest Masonic lodges, modern Freemasonry venerates 2 saints, John the Baptist and John the Evangelist, the same 2 Johns the Templars honoured. Here is where the speculation intensifies. The idea that Knights Templar survived by transforming into Freemasonry is compelling. It is also unsupported by serious historical evidence. Modern Freemasonry emerged in the 17th and 18th centuries, long after 1312. There is no documented institutional continuity, but symbolism travels, stories travel. The white apron, the emphasis on brotherhood, the architectural language, the patron saints, all of it echoes the Templars. The medieval order ended, its estates redistributed, its structure disappeared from the record. What remained in Scotland was the memory of the order and the symbolic language associated with it. Whether that constitutes survival depends on what you believe. In 1312, Temple passed to Torphichen, the charters survived. In Portugal, the transformation in the Order of Christ is documented and institutional. In Scotland, there is no surviving charter establishing a successor order after 1312. But the symbols travelled, the stories travelled. The Knights Templar did not survive in Scotland, but the idea that they might have, that survived perfectly.